So, Amanda, you have the list of people, right? Do we have everyone here, or do we have some people missing here?
I do not have Jared, right? Jared's not
So
here.
from orientation, Jared wasn't here, and
Okay.
it looks like he's not here today neither. Hatcher Kobe wasn't here as well, in orientation as well, and Ibarra Armando wasn't here. Ochoa Destiny isn't here today, but she was on orientation. And Reddy Michael Allen
Oh,
isn't here.
Ochoa Destiny.
Yeah.
I think she might. I know she was emailing Angie. I don't know if that was a class time switch. I'm not sure.
I think that was a different Destiny. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Ochoa Destiny actually is Brown Falcon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Brown, right?
Yeah.
She's not able to meet for today. I think there was the scheduling mess up in her at her work, right? Just for today, she's going to be actually joining us later.
Okay.
So this class at 11 o'clock?
Yes.
It starts at 11 o'clock right here, right now, till 11:50. I'll introduce myself, introduce what's going to be happening, right? So, and Amanda and Luis is going to probably take over most of the time. Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I'm going to start, and it's being recorded, right? It's being recording. Okay. One thing. Oh, so give me 1 second. I'm going to actually open up my other Zoom meeting here.
Excuse me. I just want to know, like, what time the class ended. I didn't hear you say anything. You said 11:50 or 12 o'clock?
It ends at 1.
1?
Yeah. So the first hour is gonna be with Paul Yee, and the second hour is gonna be with me.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so I have 2 here. All right. Good morning. Oh, it's hectic. Trying to get everything, finalized. I was notified by Angie that, my Zoom 2, I have to actually redo everything or, schedule a different Zoom meeting. So I did that. So it's a little bit confusing in the beginning. So I'm going to just give them maybe another minute, right, to have others actually join in, right? And then once I do that, I'm going to start sharing my screen. Okay, and you guys should all see that. Okay. So far, so good. Okay. One thing I want to let you guys know that for my Zoom meeting right here, okay, I have, as you notice that I have myself on here. I have 2 of myself on here, okay? It's just that my computer, I'm using my tablet to actually use the cam, okay? Unfortunately, when I actually switch from one application to another application, it actually turns off my cam, okay? So just bear with me, but my audio is all available, right? Okay, so it just helps me to actually write things down because I'm using, iPad and the pen. Okay, unfortunately, I do not have a cam on my computer. Okay, so but I can actually look at you guys through my computer, your chats and whatever you're writing down. Okay, so I could do that, and also. Of course, you could also, chat with Amanda or Luis if you have any question, right? Okay, and we'll go through that. Yes, of course. I'm gonna do Luis, make you a sign co-host. And And okay. All right. First day of class, right? In the beginning, a statistic is first thing that you need to do is in any math classes, okay, particularly in statistics, okay. Math is basically another language, like learning Spanish, French, German, right? Of course, right? And when you're learning a different language, what do you need to do? What do you need to do? What's the first thing that you need to do?
Learn the language, I guess.
Excuse me?
Learn the language. Practice.
Yeah, learn the language. How? Memorizing what?
The meanings, I guess.
Yeah, vocabularies, right? Okay.
Yeah.
When I actually immigrated here, right, I started memorizing vocabulary. One of the first word that I actually memorized was cat, because it's easy. It's one of the easiest, right? Dog, cat, right? All these things, right? Okay. Learning English, right? Okay. And then so forth, and how to spell and what the meaning of it and so forth, right? So same idea, right? In statistics, you would be learning to, right? Learning different terminologies, learning vocabularies, learning the definition, and using those definitions and identifying those definitions, okay? So first, so good, okay? And then we will be going through, so you probably have gone through that, going through your module number 1, okay? So first, so good, okay? All of you guys have gone through your module number 1 and gone through all that? Yes? Confirmation. If I could get a thumbs up, that would be great.
Yeah, but I still don't have any points for it. It just says submitted.
Excuse me?
It just says submitted. It don't say like I have any points.
Oh yeah. So you just need to submit, right? On the top, you need to click that it's been done, right?
Yeah, no, it's already done though. Like it just says 0 out of 5. It says submitted, but 0 out of 5.
Yeah, I think so, right? But so go through all your module number 1. So let's see how the module number 1 looks like here. So we have, where is this? Here it goes. Okay. And then Canvas. Right. So once you go through here, right, you go through all this and it makes a check mark here, okay? If it does, so when you click on this, okay, so you could click on next, go through all this right here, speed grader, so forth. Okay, and then on top here, there should be, on the top here, there should be where you said, click, check, put a check mark for completeness, right?
Look like it. Oh, damn. Can't see my camera.
Yeah, so some of these modules, you have to put a check mark on the top there, top right-hand corner. It specifies, right, that you've done the actual module, right, and gone through the actual module. All right, so far so good. So learning just the first day, just learning how to go through and then kind of navigate through your Canvas, going through the modules and so forth, okay? Of course, I'll give you the overview of what we're going to be studying, right, this semester. Okay, so let's go through and all of you guys have that module number 1 open, yes?
Yeah.
Side by side. So I'm going to open that up here. Okay, so module number 1. Okay, you guys could all see that?
Hey, mine don't look like that.
Yeah, mine don't either. And it still say I got 0 out of 5.
Yeah.
Mine is a whole video. It's just a video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's a video portion of it, and then along with that, there's a text version. So this is basically your text.
So what do we do to get the text version?
You talking about module 1, Welcome to Sim 2020?
Yes. So let me see where.
So you saying we should be at the part where it's like a video or something?
You should be watching. You should go through all that. Modules. Give me just a second. Right. You went through the information. Yeah. Module lecture 1. On the top as well, there's a textbook chapter on your home Canvas page. Do you see that? When you click home, do you see the textbook chapter page right here? You click on that, and then if you actually click on that download, this is your textbook. Okay. So this is basically the textbook for your module number 1. Okay, so far so good. And this is what you went through as going through your module number 1 right here. Okay. The welcome sim and going through all this, and then going through the Quizlets and all that, right? And so forth.
So ours should be green like that?
Yeah, so when you, so let's see where, let's see the objective here. So on the top here, usually it says click for done, right? Amanda, confirmation?
Marie said that she didn't put it in on this. The mark is done, so they might not be able to find it.
Okay. They say some students says they get 0 out of 5. Is there a reason why?
There is a reason. They were supposed to watch 25 of 38 screens to get credit. So there may be something that they didn't see that caused them to not get credit.
So that I saw the thing. It said
so
Tuesday.
there's a lecture here that's 5. It's worth 5 points here, and then when you actually watch this link here, right? You have to watch long enough in order for you to get a credit. So
I watched the whole video.
Yeah.
So there was a glitch during this first module. There were some things that I think didn't go exactly perfect. And they know if you've been able to watch it, they'll be able to adjust your grade.
Okay.
That's due when that was, let's say due Tuesday, don't it?
The module 1 is due tonight by midnight.
I bet.
And there is a quiz tomorrow.
Right. No, midnight.
All right, so now, excuse me, Amanda, you said something about watching a video. Okay, now I watched the whole video and still didn't get the credit. So what do we have to do?
Yeah, so to answer that, there's some of you still got 0, but they're gonna fix the grade later on today.
There's a glitch.
All right, there we go.
So
Thank you. Appreciate
don't worry about it. If you watch the whole thing, you're good. Okay, they'll fix that grade.
All right, yeah. I just wanted to make sure because they say submitted with 0 points. I just wanted to see what was going on. Thank you, guys.
Okay, good. Okay, all right. Any other question before we actually move on?
Yeah, if I could talk to Michael, please.
Michael,
you're muted, so if you're speaking, you're not. We can't hear you.
Hello?
Awesome. Perfect. Do you have a camera?
Yes, it's on.
If you could, I'm sorry?
It's on.
We're not. I see a.
Yeah,
it says no camera.
Okay, well, it says stop video, and then it says start video, and it says it's on for me.
Oh. Are you on a computer?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have like a, did you allow permission to Zoom to view your camera?
Yeah, I did, but how do I check, like, make sure?
It would be into your settings. So you would go over to, are you on Mac or PC?
PC.
PC. So go over to like the start menu. You'd have to pull up the settings.
Oh.
And once you go into settings, I believe it's under system. Or like in the control panel, there should be like a system setting, and you can go over to
I don't see that though.
Yeah, maybe not there. Okay, so if there's a search bar, maybe just find camera. And you're gonna have to give permission to Zoom to use your camera, because I think that might be your problem. Because I see the camera and I see that there's a camera icon with a slash through it.
I don't see any settings. Where do you see that on? Like, I don't.
So,
Okay.
okay, if I stop sharing, can you notice yourself right here? You don't see yourself, Michael, right?
I don't see myself. Oh yeah, I don't.
Yeah, so he said it has that camera with the slash through it, right? So there's something wrong with the, something wrong with your camera.
Settings. I don't see settings anywhere on my screen. Like,
okay.
this is,
Cool. Mike, can you see my screen?
yeah.
Okay. So I'm going over to Windows. I'm gonna go up to settings. If I can't find that, I'm gonna type in settings down here.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So this is gonna come up, right?
Yeah.
All right. So there's a search bar for YouTube. Okay. I'm gonna type in camera. And then there I have camera privacy settings. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I just click that. I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna say I could just easily do it. I could say access to all, but you're gonna have to go in and find your app and switch it over to allow.
Zoom.
So right now my Zoom meetings is currently in use. I think this might be your problem. If it's not, then we'll have to find another solution.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay.
It says they're all on.
Okay, now it looks different. Now can you go to Zoom in the app and switch to camera? Oh no.
Yeah, something's wrong with the cam.
Okay.
This is recording on my screen.
Well, the thing is going to be recorded, but what we want to do is kind of monitor you guys, right, to see if you guys are actually paying attention, not leaving the room, whatnot, and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we need to see, right, you are there.
Yeah, but I have it all on. And I don't know why it's not showing.
Right. So that's just technicality. The first stage will allow you to see if we can actually, if you could by next meeting, right, try to, figure that glitch out.
Okay. But how do I don't understand how to do it.
Fix that.
I just tell you, like, because I don't understand how to fix it. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Let me see here. Yeah,
it says it took me. It says it's currently in use, and it says they're all It says allow all desktop apps to allow your camera and it's on. So I just don't know why it's not showing.
Okay. We can work over it in the next hour.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll just leave it as is for right now, and then we'll have.
All right. So let's go through this quickly. We don't have too much time, right? All right. Okay. So you guys all know how to find the textbook, right? Your module textbooks, right? Okay. Yeah. Under, where was it? Under your, under your home, right here, you have your textbook chapter right here. Okay. Click on that. Of course, that will take you to the link or where you can actually download your PDF. You could print that out or put it in your computer, right? For your access, easy access, right? And that will only give you about 10 pages, I believe, right? So we'll go through that today, okay? All right, so before we start on this right here, which is your module 1, okay? What do you guys know about what do you know about statistics? What little do you know about statistic? Anyone have an idea what statistic is all about?
Data.
Data, good. What do we do with those data?
Categorize it, I guess.
What do we do? Right? Data is what? If you guys watched the video, right, went through the module number 1, data is what?
Information.
Information, very good. So we want to figure out information about different type of data. Suppose that you want to figure out, my free throws, right, percentage, right? Okay, how accurate am I, right? Okay, so you got to collect data, right? So you got to collect maybe 10 free throws and so forth, right? Shoot 100 free throws, right? What's my percentage out of 100, right? How many did I make? And I can figure out the percentage and so forth, right? Okay, so data is actually information, and collecting data and figuring out information about that data, right, is all about statistics. Statistic is basically, we want to gather information, okay, and learn from that data. We want to learn information about that data, okay? So the overview of statistic is basically, suppose that, for example, suppose that I want to actually figure out the average height of Cerritos College students. What do I need to do? What's the first thing that I need to do?
You need everybody height.
Right. All Cerritos College students, right? So first, so good. Okay. So first, so now let me actually give you a little bit of information that you kind of learned through your module number 1 video, right? So when I ask, so what is actually our observational unit?
Students.
Excuse me?
Is it the students?
Yeah, all students in Cerritos College. Then what will be the variable of my question?
The height.
The height. Height will be the variable, right? So let me ask you another question. How long would you take to actually gather all the information of all Cerritos College students and measure their height? How long would it take? Let me get an estimation, guesstimation. Anyone? No one. It would take probably a week, right? Maybe 2 weeks, right? Maybe in a month, right? To do this right here, to gather every single student's height in Cerritos College and measure their height. And I want to figure out the average height of Cerritos College students, right? So that's what we want to do, figuring out data, right? Figuring out information about, observational unit, right? In order to do that, I need to collect data, and data is very messy, right? And in order to do that, it takes tremendous time, right? And probably a lot of, resources, right? But sometimes it takes too much time. Suppose that I want to figure out average height of male adults, 18 and over, right? In the whole entire world. Is it possible for us to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible, but how long is it going to take you?
A long time.
A long time, maybe decades if you are doing it by yourself, right? To measure, right? Okay. So therefore, what we want to do in statistic by definition is what we consider to be a sample data. Okay. Stat is a sample data. What we want to do is figure out information about a population using a sample data. Okay. So first we're good. And what we're trying to do is we want to learn the steps of constructing what we call the statistical experiment, right? Okay. Basically, what we want to do is first, right, figure out how to actually collect that data, how to organize that data, how to figure out information from that data. And that's what we're going to be doing throughout the semester. That's the basic overview, right? So like I said, if I want to figure out the average height of Cerritos College students, you're not going to go out and measure every single student in the Cerritos College. You'll probably pick maybe, 100 students, randomly pick 100 students and measure their height, and then say, oh, serious college students is going to be approximately, this much, right? Okay, so you want to make an estimation using a sample. Okay, and that's what we're trying to do as a statistic. That's the overview of that, what we're going to be looking at here as a class. Okay, so let's go through the data. So data is messy, right? Okay, so these icons are used throughout this book, right? So this, arrow with the target, learning objective that we're going to be looking at, right? Write this down. We have the key phrases and vocabulary and so forth. This is just the icons that we actually look at. So here's your module number 1. Okay, learning objective for module number 1. We'll need to learn what is data, okay? What is an observational unit? What is a variable? What is a numerical, categorical, and what is discrete and continuous, right? Variable, okay? Where we identifying all those, right? As most of you guys gone through module number 1, you kind of have a definition of all these objectives, right? So far, so good? Okay, so first thing we want to look at, so again, when you learn any type of math, right? Doesn't matter if it's algebra to, statistic to calculus, a lot of the time there's terminology that you have to actually get familiar with. Okay, again, learning a new language, you need to learn vocabulary, right? Okay, so here, okay, data is factual information that can be used as the basis for reasoning, discussion, or calculation. Okay, so in this class, we'll always want to discuss in context, meaning always keeping meanings and application of information in mind. Statistical questioning involves a sense of wonder, questions that we can investigate, but possibly never know the precise answer. Some examples of these questions include, what is an average height of all women over age of 18 who play basketball in high school? Or is it true that 42% of all men in the entire world's favorite color is blue? Okay, to answer these questions precisely, we will need to measure all women in the country and survey every man in the entire world. Okay, not feasible, not doable. Okay, nearly impossible to actually gather all information, right? So therefore, what do? We gather, right? So instead, we get some fraction of that information and then use it to estimate. So we, approximate the answer, okay? And how is our approximation? How accurate is our approximation? And we'll actually learn how to calculate that accuracy as well, okay? So the information that we collect, right, is data. It is a foundation upon which we not only build our response to question of wonder, but also formulate more questions from the result we obtain. Okay, so there are different type of data, right? When researching using data, we are interested in the certain characteristic, which is what we call observational unit. Observational unit is an individual or things in which we collect data. The characteristic or information we collect is called the variable, okay? Just like we talked about before. I asked you, right? Say we want to measure the average height of Cerritos College student, right? So therefore, your observation will be the student and your variable will be the height, because every student will have it's not exactly, every student does not have exactly the same height. It varies from students to students. So therefore, your height will become the variable in this case, okay? So observational unit is a student and so forth, okay? Looking at this question right here, right? Same idea. A study state that the average height of girl who play basketball in high school is 68.4 inches with a standard deviation of 2.8. So therefore, what is your observational unit here? Observational unit here?
The girls who play basketball.
Right, and you guys all have the answers here. Girls play, and the variable in this case is the height. Same idea, right? Is it true that 42% of all men in the entire world their favorite color is blue? Okay, what will be the observational unit here?
The men.
The men in the entire world, right? In the world, right? What will be the variable in this case? What will be the variable?
The color.
The color. Okay, so you guys could have your mics unmuted, right? Okay. So far, so good. Okay. All right. So keep in mind that in any study, you may have more than one observational unit, oftentimes more than one variable, right? Okay. Any data that has exactly two variables are called bivariate data. Okay. So let's look at something like this, right? So here, this is, I wish they had this along when they have this bivariate. I think I wish they had a example of here the bivariate data. But here for each of the graph that follows, identify the observational unit and the variable here. Okay, so here, just by looking at this graph, this is considered to be what we call the dot plot. Okay. Later on, we'll learn how to actually use this with application of StatCrunch to actually graph a dot plot here. So here, what will be the observational unit here?
The soccer team.
So individual player, right? From the 2019 soccer U.S. women's national team. Okay, what will be the variable here?
The number of goals scored.
Number of goals scored. Very good. Yes. No. Here. So what will be the observation? Observation unit is a player in 2019 U.S. women's national soccer team. Of course, variable is the number of goals scored. Okay. Over here, this is little tricky, right? Okay. So here we have what we call the histogram, a side-by-side histogram, right? So we have identified the observational unit. Okay. What will be the observational unit here? Okay, so here population. What will be the observational unit? We have two observational units, males and female sprinter. One observational unit is a female sprinter, and the other observational is a male sprinter, right? What will be their variable, of course? What are they measuring here?
Reaction time.
What are they measuring? Reaction time, right? So that will be your variable. Variable is a reaction time in milliseconds, okay? Well, here, you could actually identify this as a one observational unit, right? As you notice that, you can say the observational unit is sprinters, and one variable is and there's two genders. So in this case, we have two and one variable. In this case, we have one observational unit and two variable. Okay. So one variable is gender and the other is a reaction time here. Okay. So far so good. Okay. Both of those are correct answers there. Okay. Of course, there are other examples of bivariate data, right? In this case right here. What will be your observational unit? Identify the observational unit and the variables here. Okay, by looking at this data, this is what we call a 2x2 contingency table, right? Two-way table. Okay, so what will be the observational unit here?
The drivers.
What do you notice about here? What do they say here? This is what? Cell phone use driving, does not use cell phone while driving, speed violation.
Driving, good guess.
Drivers, right? Okay, so, right? So your observational units are drivers, right? What would be the variable in this case?
Phone?
Speeding, I guess. I don't know.
Right. Phone is one of them. There's two variable, right? This is bivariate. And also what? Whether you are what? Speeding or not speeding, right?
I was halfway right.
Right. So one variable is cell phone usage. As you can see, cell phone uses while driving. Yes or no? The other variable is speeding violation status. Okay. Last year. Yes or no? Okay. So far, so good. How about this one right here? Identify the observational unit and the variable here. Okay. What do we notice about here? Look at here.
Yeah, students.
What are we talking about here? What's the y-axis? What does it cover here? Percent, right? The x-axis is what? Pretty much all students. Okay, so far so good. Okay, but it gives you a category of different students. We have three different categories here. We have the under age 25, we have intent to transfer, we have a full-time students, right? So these are three different categories, which represents what we call our variables, right? Three different variables. So we have our observational unit as all students, and the three different variables are represented by each categories here. Age group, right? Are you under age 25 or over 25? Enrollment intent, right? Are you intent or taking this, going to this community college to either transfer or to get your AA, right? And so forth, okay? And of course, are you a full-time student or are you a part-time student, right? Okay. That's one. So this is considered to be a bar chart. Later on, we'll learn how to actually graph these type of charts, right? Using either StatCrunch or even by hand as well, okay? And I'll tell you how to actually figure out, right? Depending on the type of data that you're dealing with, you'll learn how to actually graph either a bar chart or a histogram, okay? But depending on the bar chart and histogram, there's a slight difference. Bar chart actually do not ever touch, whereas the histogram, these bars actually touch. Okay. All right. This is one of the graph that we see later on. It's called a scatter plot. Okay. So again, I believe that you guys kind of went through all this, right? Okay. So you should be able to actually go through this and then figure out what is an observational unit and what are the variables here, okay? And so forth. Okay, so I'm gonna actually kind of skim through because I'm kind of running out of time here. I wanna actually get to the definition of categorical and numerical data values as well, different type of data, right? Okay, so here, before I ask you, right, if you needed to measure and figure out the average height of Cerritos College students, right, and we learned that one of your data or one of your variable is considered to be the height, right? Just by looking at this right here definition, is height a categorical variable or a numerical variable? I think you guys went through this going through module number 1, right? Okay, is your height, variable height, a categorical or numerical? Anyone? Not a trick question.
Numerical.
Numerical, right? Height measures, right? Numerical characteristics that can be measured, right, in objective manner. As you could see right here, it says height is one of them, right? Height is a numerical variable. Okay, categorical variable, right, are characteristics that do not have an objective question, right? Some categorical variable might have numbers in there, right? So numbers do not automatically, right, represent numerical, like zip code, area code, right, jersey number, right, are categorical. Even social security number are considered to be categorical. That number does not have a numerical value. Someone who has a social security that is 555555555, right? Someone who has this social security is not less superior than someone who has 666, 666, 666, right? Okay. They're not ranked in any manner. This might represent someone who is named John Smith, right? And this might be someone else, right? It's actually tied to a person. Okay. So far, so good? Okay. Any question? Okay. All right. So we have categorical and numerical, but numerical actually divides into two branches. Okay, there's two types of numerical data. Okay, there's what we call the continuous, right, numerical data, right, and or numerical variable, and a discrete numerical variable. Okay, discrete numerical variables are what we call countable. Okay, for example, how many puppies can a dog have? Right? Those are what we consider to be a discrete, right? So you could have I don't know, you could have 20, right? So maybe the dog probably lay like 20 puppies, right? Okay, but you can't go anything further than maybe 100. I've never seen any dog that have 100 puppies, right? Okay, so far so good. Those are countable, are considered to be discrete. Continuous are not countable. Okay, so anything that is a measurement, so for example, height, right? Height is continuous variable. Okay, height is a continuous variable. So for example, so height that is 1 foot to 2 feet, right? There are infinite number of, right, measurement in between 1 to 2 feet. Right? It could be 1.1 feet, 1.01 feet, 1.001 feet, and so forth. There are infinite measurements, so therefore it's considered to be a continuous variable. Okay, any measurement, right, that cannot be counted are considered to be continuous, like speed. So therefore, here is the kind of breakdown of your variables. Your variable breaks down into either a categorical or numerical, right? Okay. And then upon knowing that the variable is categorical or numerical, you actually organize those data differently. Okay. So you could actually organize categorical data into a bar chart, right? You could do it into a pie graph and so forth. Okay. Whereas numerical, you could do it as a dot plot, stem and leaf plot. You could do it you could organize it into a histogram and so forth. Okay. We'll learn about that. Okay. And that's pretty much the end of the lesson. Okay. So we have, okay. So later on, okay. So next chapter, we're going to be learning how to actually organize those data value that you collected, right? So in module number, excuse me?
I said that's tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, that will be tomorrow. So we're going to tie this in. We're going to be learning how to actually organize, right? Learning how to put it into a table, right? Of course, we could organize it into a table. We could organize it into a pictorial form, and we'll learn how to actually organize those type of graphs or data values. Okay, so far so good? Okay, now Amanda and Luis are going to be taking over. If you had any question about right? Your
Mhm.
unit number one, any question. So say, oh, I didn't really know how to actually go through the module number one on Canvas. Can you show me how? Amanda can answer those questions. Luis could answer those questions, and they'll try to help you guys out. Okay, here and there. Okay, so I think, is it the next 1 hour or next 2 hour that you're going through this?
It's 1 hour.
Next 1 hour,
Yeah.
right? You'll take maybe 10-minute break, come back at, I think, 12 o'clock, 12 to 12:50. You'll be spending time with Amanda and Luis.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So
Before you leave,
you guys gonna be in here, right? I'm gonna make Amanda and Luis, I'll make Amanda to be the host, and then I'll just leave
I think
Luis.
Luis will be the host.
Yeah, I have to be the
Luis
host.
will be the
Yeah.
host, then Amanda will be the co-host, right?
Yes.
All right, so, and he has the power to this room, so therefore, all right, good meeting you guys all, right? This is the first day, kind of hectic, right? We're trying to get used to this program right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be seeing you on Wednesday. Okay, correct? Oh,
I
please
believe so.
remind Luis, please remind him
Yes.
about the quiz next
Yes.
tomorrow. All right, good. All right. Okay. All right. Have a nice day. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.
All right, my man Paul.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day. Stay safe, my brother. Stay safe.
All right. Christian, you were gonna say?
I just said peace.
Oh, peace out.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So we're just going to go on a break for the next 10 minutes. Just meet back at 12:02.
Feel like everybody left.
No, I think 2 of them was just Paul Yee. So those were his things that are left. But this was pretty much how we had the other class, besides Destiny Ochoa. Today, she's kind of had some troubles. So, all right, we'll go on ahead and get started on this. Is everybody's webcam on?
Yeah.
Okay, it's probably just my screen. I'm just seeing
Yeah.
blank, but it's all right. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share screen, and let me know if you guys see it. You guys see the worksheet? All right. So give me a second. All right. So for this section, we're just gonna be answering some questions. I will really like it if all of you would participate more than once at least, because this is all for you. I know the answers, but it's not whether I know the answers, it's whether you guys could, it's whether you guys can differentiate between continuous, discrete, and observational values, observational unit and variables, all right? So we'll start off with the first question. The accompanying table gives us the population of 6 United States with the largest population in 2008 and the area of these states, okay? So we have states and we have names, population, and area of square. So who wants to answer the first one? Name the observational unit. What is I'm sorry?
It wouldn't be name, population, area?
No, those are actually something else you're describing, but the observational unit, it's something we're looking at, not what are we looking at. We're just looking at something or someone. In this case, something.
States.
States, you are correct. We're looking at states. That is our observational unit. When it comes to observational unit, it's always something or someone, all right? So in this case, and there is no someone, we're just looking at states themselves. Now, I forgot who said it last time, but you were right on this second part. What are the variables? Someone said it.
The name, population, and area.
Name, population, and area. These are the things that we're looking at in the states. We're looking at their names, we're looking at their population, and we're looking at their areas, and we're comparing them, basically. So those are our variables. Everybody's good so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's take a look at 1C. Identify which variable, if any, are categorical and which are numerical. If numerical, state whether it's discrete or continuous. All right, so let's start with names. So I'm gonna put a little arrow on it. What is name? Is it a categorical or is it a numerical?
Categorical.
Categorical. Everybody know why?
Because names, not numbers.
Basically. Also remember, not always numbers will be numerical. Just letting you know. So what about population? Is that numerical or is that categorical?
Population is numerical.
Numerical. All right, correct again. And we'll go over discrete and continuous in a second. What about area? Is that numerical or is that categorical?
Categorical.
It wouldn't be categorical
Numerical?
because area is something we measure, right? Something we could differentiate from the other ones. We could subtract them. Don't worry, as long as you understand the difference. So this is numerical. Now then, we're going to be talking about discrete or continuous. Remember, categorical doesn't have discrete or continuous. Categorical, it's its own category. It's just categorical. Now, if we're talking about population, is it discrete or is it continuous?
Discrete.
Discrete. Everybody know why?
Because there's no gaps in between.
There's no gaps in between. You are correct. You can't have 3.75 of a population. There's no such thing as 3.75 of a human or 1.75 or 0.50 of a human. There's no such thing as that. Everybody is counted as one. So your population is going to be discrete. What about area? What is that? Discrete or continuous?
Continuous.
Continuous. You are correct. Everybody know why?
Like decimal points or whatever.
You're in the right track. Square miles. We're talking about square miles, right? You could always reduce square miles into something smaller. You could always reduce them into inches, centimeters, and so forth and so on. No matter how you break it down, you could always break down 44,817 point whatever, how many ever other decimals we have at the very end. All right, so that's why this one is continuous and this one is discrete. You can have 4 point something something decimals of an area, but you can have point something of a population. So for 1D, give me a second. All right, so it says, determine and report the ranking of the population density by dividing each population by the number of square miles to get the population density in people per square mile. Use rank 1 to the highest density. So what we're doing ultimately is we're just going to be dividing the the population by the number of square miles. So if anybody has a computer on their laptop or screen, you could go ahead and put it out, or if you have an actual calculator, it'll be nice if you could pull it out and help me with these calculations. So like I stated, all we're doing is dividing the population by the area. So what would the population density be for the first one for Pennsylvania? Little division sign.
Will we be rounding like to the nearest whole number or?
Round to the nearest 2 decimals.
I got 277.
Okay.
76.
76, correct. Next one.
At 232.11.
Correct. 232.11. Next one. I'm sorry?
No.
$339.87.
Yep. 339.87. All right. Hi, Destiny. Welcome for join. Thank you for joining us, even though it's a little bit late, but it's always best to have you. What we're going over right now is continuous and discrete data. We're also looking at observational unit and variables, just to catch you up a bit. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So who has the population density for New York?
41280.
41280. I'm gonna put that as 81 because we have to round up, since there's a 7 at the end after the 0.
For sure.
All right, who has the next population density?
Um, 93.
93. We'll round that to 92.92. And then who has the last one? Anybody got it?
235.61 or 68.
Thank you. 235.68. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to rank them. Rank number 1 will be the highest density. Which one will be rank number 1? Which one has the highest density?
New York.
New York. So that will be our first one. Which one has the second highest density?
Florida.
Florida. Third?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Fourth?
California.
California. Fifth?
Illinois.
And the last one is
Texas.
Texas. All right. So given our data, we want to, if given these 6 states as choices and wanted to live in the state with the lowest population density, which one will we choose?
Texas.
Texas. You are correct. That's the one with the lowest population density. And for the last question, you can't see it, but it's the same thing, but this time it's with the highest population density. Which one will you choose?
New York.
New York.
New York, correct. So highest is New York, lowest is Texas. Okay, so that's pretty much about it for this first question. For Destiny, I'll just give you a quick recap of what was the first 3 questions or first 4 questions. So for number 1, it says the observational unit, and that is state. What are we looking at? We're looking at the states, okay? It's always either a what is or someone or a something. In this case, and there is no someone, it's a something. And we also have variables. What are our variables? Those will be what we're observing about the state, which is the name, the population, and the area of the state. Okay. And then for 1C, we're talking about whether it's categorical or numerical. So I'll go over this one a bit more in the other examples since it's we'll explain it a little bit better. Categorical means that it's just it has nothing to do numerically, meaning you can't add them, you can't subtract them, you can compare them, but you can't really do anything like arithmetic with it. talking about names, can you do any type of arithmetic with names? No, right? You can't divide Pennsylvania out of Illinois and get Florida. That doesn't make sense. So names will be a type of categorical data. Numerical, on the other hand, is not always numbers. Actually, I'll explain that a bit more. But numerical could be numbers, but it's not always going to be the numbers. It's always whether they have any meaning behind them. Like, can you compare them? Can you compare two different populations? You can't compare two different populations. One has more population than the other. One has less population, or one has the same as the other. Discrete, on the other hand, so this population is numerical discrete. Discrete, on the other hand, is countable. You could count from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, right? So let's say a cat has a litter of kittens. How many kittens does it get? 6. That's what discrete is. There is no such thing as 6.5 kittens. There is no such thing as 6.7 litter of kittens. There is no in between. There's gaps. That's what I'm trying to say. You can't go from 1.2 to 2. You only go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Continuous, on the other hand, is what I just stated. You could get in betweens. You could go from 0 to 1 and have so many numbers in between 0 and 1 that you can't even count them all, or no one could count them. So that's just the difference between continuous and discrete. And we'll explain a little bit more as we go along.
Okay.
All right. So for number 2, this one's a little bit of a trick question, but if you remember from the lecture, are NBA jersey numbers considered categorical or numerical data variables? Anybody want to take a guess?
Categorical.
Categorical, right? A jersey shirt, so this is categorical. A jersey shirt has no number meaning. It has a meaning that the person behind it is a person. I don't know much about baseball or basketball or any of those sports to know which ones are some good numbers.
But, sports?
Not that much, sorry.
What's your favorite sport?
Well, it's not really considered a sport, but I do like running.
Yeah, I mean, they be wearing it.
Yeah. So yeah, jersey numbers, they only describe the person. They don't describe, the value has no meaning itself. You can't subtract 2 jersey numbers and get some type of meaning from them. All right. So that's why the reason the jersey numbers are categorical, the numbers have no meaning besides the person itself. And so we'll move on to number 3. So this one's a bit of a tricky one. I'll explain it as much as possible, but it is a bit confusing. Consider having 3 dice, each with 6 sides. One die named letters, having only A, B, C, D, E, F. 1 letter per side, and the second die is named numbers, having 1 through 6. And then the third die is named pips, having these photos on it. So we'll go one by one and I'll explain what they are. Which one of these 3 dice can be interpreted and recorded as numerical data? So all we're looking from these dice are just the picture of it. That's it. We're not having meaning behind the numbers or anything like that. We're just looking at the picture itself. So think of it like that. If we have letters, what would that be? Would that be categorical or numerical?
Categorical.
Categorical. There is no meaning behind each and every other die. Now, if we have numbers, I know a lot of you want to say they're numerical, but in this case, they're actually going to be categorical. Like I stated, we're only looking at the picture itself. We have no meaning on the numbers. If we had we're only looking at the picture itself. We're not looking at the numbers. If we had some context, say this die represented however many number of cows we have or something, they'll probably be numerical. But since there is no context and we're only giving the picture, we can't say it's numerical. We have to say it's categorical because we can't compare 1 to 2 and make it meaningful. All right, we can't say, or even if we just look at the picture, we can't say what we could describe them. We can't compare them by much. We could say 1 is just a straight line and 2 is curvy. That's about it. But other than that, there is no meaning behind these numbers. They're just pictures. So now for the second part, for the pips, that will be numerical. And let me explain. This one, like I stated before, we have drawings. We're only looking at the picture. Now we can compare them, right? We can say, oh, this one has 2 more than the one that this side, or this one has 3 more dots than the one we see. In this case, we can compare them. And I know my dice look very, very horrible. We can compare each and every side of the die. We can say this has 2 dots, but this one has 6 dots. This has 4 more dots than this one has. This one has 5 dots and this one has 3 dots. This one has 2 more dots than that one. We can compare the pictures with each other. We could say how many more dots they have, how many less dots they have, if they even have the same amount of dots, which they don't, but that will be numerical because we could say something about the picture. We could say that one of them has more, one of them has less, okay? So this one's, yeah, a bit of a tricky one, but it just goes to show you that anything could be numerical, anything, well, not mostly anything, but a lot of stuff could be categorical and a lot of stuff could be numerical if given context. And we'll see more about that right now and explain it a little bit more.
According to the title at the top.
All right.
The numbers on.
All right, thank you. Question number 4. Now, we're considering the purchase of a home. A home buyer is concerned with 1, the price of the home, the number of room it has, whether or not the home has a pool, the number of schools within a 5-mile radius, the distance to the nearest freeway, the city it is in, and the year it was built in. For each of the variables that you see above, we're going to describe them whether they are categorical or whether they are numerical. And if they are numerical, tell whether they're discrete or continuous. All right? So who wants to try the first one, the price of a home?
Numerical?
Numerical, you are correct. I'm going to put an N. Now, who wants to tell me if it's discrete or continuous? This one's a bit of a tricky one. So first, what are we measuring? Prices, right? Is the price a discrete or a continuous numerical value?
Discrete.
Discrete. You are correct. Do you know why? Does anybody know why?
Because you can only go down to pennies and there's nothing in between that.
There you go. There's nothing in between 0 and 1 penny. You cannot have half a penny. You cannot have 1/4 of a penny. The price will never be passing 2 decimal places. It is fixed. You could have a house, which I doubt this will cost. You could have a house that is $48. You could have a house that is $48.75, but you cannot have a house that is $48.756,379 because these values don't exist. Okay, so that's when we're talking about currency. Currency will be discrete. It is not continuous because you can go on. It has a certain amount of value in it. Now, who wants to try the next one? the number of room it has. Numerical or categorical? Key word right here is the number.
So numerical.
Numerical in this case. Would this be discrete or would it be continuous?
Discrete.
Discrete. And do you know why?
Like you said, it doesn't have like adding numbers at the end.
Basically, you could have one room. Some people maybe have half a room, which I don't know. But you can't get like 1.79 of a room and pay for that price. You can't get 1.83 of a room. You can't get 1.8754321 of a room. This just doesn't make sense. You don't go into a house listing and ask for a 1.8754321 part of a room. They're just gonna look at you weirdly. There is no such thing. You can only have 1 room, 2 rooms, 3 rooms, 4 rooms, however many rooms you could have. Sorry. But yeah, it will be discrete. Now number 3, whether or not the home has a pool. So right here, this one, the keyword right here is whether or not.
Category.
That is categorical. You are correct. Do you know what kind of category it falls in, by any chance?
What do you mean?
So there are different types of categories. It could be colors. It could be. There's a specific one that's really common in this. Read the question. Whether or not is another way of saying. It's just a yes or no question, right?
Yeah.
Do we have a pool? Yes. Do we not have a pool? Or do we have a pool? No. This is just another way of saying a yes or no question. So yes or no questions are categorical. So this one would be categorical. Number 4, number of schools within a 5-mile radius. What would the keyword here be?
For miles, number?
Number of schools. Now, this is not that important. We're not looking at that because we're not measuring 5 miles. We're measuring how many schools are there. Okay? So be careful when you have multiple things. Look at which one is the most important. So if we're talking about number of schools, what would that be?
Numerical.
Numerical, correct. And would it be discrete or continuous? Think about it like the rooms, right? Can we have 5.5 of a school?
No.
Yeah.
No, right? So this has to be
5.5 miles?
Not miles. Remember, we're not looking at miles.
Yeah.
We're looking at the number of schools. So can we have 5.5 numbers of school?
No.
No, right? So this has to be discrete. So like stated before, make sure you understand what we're looking for. It says the number of school. It's not saying the number of miles away from the school or something like that. 5 miles radius is just something they're adding in there.
Sure.
Okay. Now, talking about miles, what is this? What's the keyword? The distance to the nearest freeway. What would the keyword be in this one?
Distance.
Distance. You are correct. Would that be numerical or would that be categorical?
Numerical.
Numerical, right again. Now, ask yourself, would it be continuous or discrete? So take a look at distance, right? What is distance measured in?
Miles.
Pounds? Not pounds.
Like inches.
Miles.
Oh, miles, yeah. Sorry, I thought I heard pounds. Miles, right? Can miles be reduced down? Yeah, it could be reduced down to yards. It could be reduced down to inches. It could be reduced down to centimeters, millimeters, micrometers, nanometers. You could keep on going down. You could keep on going all the way down to the smallest number of value. You could have 3 miles, but then if you want to get more accurate, you could be 3.3 miles and 2 yards, and so forth and so on. You could keep on going all the way down. If we do that, what would that be? Continuous, right? Continuous values don't have a limit. They could keep on going however far they want to. All right. So far so good, everyone? Any questions? All right. Oops, someone's highlighting stuff. All right. The city it is in. Would that be categorical or would that be numerical?
Categorical.
Categorical. Why is it categorical?
Because it doesn't involve numbers.
Basically, we're talking about names, right? Names is another way of saying categorical. So, give me a second. All right, get out of here. Sorry. Now for number 7, the year it was built in. So before you answer, this one is not tricky, but this one is to get you thinking. Like I stated before on number 3, so I'm gonna clear all of this. Like I stated before on number 3, these could have different, it could fall in different categories. It could be variable or it could be numerical depending on the context, okay? So given this information, what would the year it was built in be? So from what we know, we don't have much context about this. The year it was built in could be used in both categorical data and numerical, okay? So this is just another example that you could use certain things with 2 different categories. This could also be categorical, this could be numerical, okay?
What if it had the option to only be one or the other?
They'll specify which one it is.
Oh.
The year it was built in is just debatable. There's no telling what they're using the year for. That's it. They're just telling you the year is no. Just know that there's options for that too. But if they were to tell you something different, like, let me see if I could come up with an example. Geez, let's see. Let's see. It's hard to come up with an example.
It's all about the context, huh?
Yeah, it's basically on the context. This case, there's not much context. It's just what year the year it was built in. That's it. It's not telling us much what they want to know about the year, what they want to know about it. It's just telling you what the year it's built in. So just know that if it's very vague, it could have 2 different.
And either or, no matter what we put it to be right.
Basically, unless they give you context, then
like more context.
Yeah. So if we go back to the previous question or number 6, can that be numerical by any chance? Can names be numerical? No. That's a straight out no, right? So like I stated, not all of them could be broken up into 2, but there are some. So just know which ones can be broken up into 2. Okay, so let's see. What do we have? For each variable, all right, we did this one. Now for part B, what they want us to do is they want us to create 3 different additional variables for each type: categorical, discrete, and continuous. So I'm gonna go ahead and write them down. Who has any categorical variables for the house? Anybody?
Like random categorical? Like
as long as it's categorical, yes.
A letter grade?
A letter about the house. Let's keep it with the house. But a letter grade would be categorical. You are correct though. But if it was a number grade, that's a different story. But yeah, categorical for a house, one of them could be what color it is, right?
Yeah.
The color of the house is categorical. It has no numerical meaning. What's another one? How about a yes or no question? What would a yes or no question be for categorical?
Is it 2-story?
Is it 2-story? Yeah. Is it 2-story?
Does it have a basement?
Does it have a basement?
A garage?
Basically, basement, yes or no. Garage, yes or no, so forth and so on. So what's interesting is this one right here. This is categorical. You are correct. But you can make it into a numerical value as well. So just know that, like I stated, there are other things that you could make into categorical and numerical. But the way you phrased it, it's categorical. Is it 2-story? It's a yes or no question. We're not asking about how many stories it has or stuff like that. So now we're going to talk about numerical, discrete. Anybody has some options? So take a look at the examples we previously had. Which ones were numerical discrete? Price of the home, number of room it has, and number of schools within a 5-mile radius. Those were all discrete. What other one could we say are numerical and discrete?
Still talking about the house?
Yeah. One of you had a good idea, but you just have to phrase it in a different way. Instead of it is, or how many stories does it has, right? You can't have 2.3 stories. You can only have a certain amount. How many story building is it, or however you want to phrase it? So this is a good example of saying, of something that could be both categorical and numerical. Anybody else? How many lights would be another one? As you can see how the wording is phrased. How many lights? You can't have, oops, can't even spell lights. Anything else? Steps on a, this is a good one from previous course. Steps on a stairs.
Yeah.
How many steps on the stairs there are? That's a good discrete. Like stated, you can't have half a step. That would look weird. All right, so we'll move on to the next one. Numerical continuous. Anybody has any idea? So think about, oh, go for it, sorry.
I was thinking like size of the house. Like
Size of the house is a good one. Size.
Height.
The height. Anybody else? It's weird, but you could also say the weight. I mean, who measures houses? Who weighs houses? But you know, there's people out there. You could also say the size of the land plot, not the house, but the land it's in. Size of land plot. There's a couple other stuff, but you kind of get the idea, right? So these are your own variables that you guys created. Categorical is just like yes or no question. Colors, names. I think address might be another one for categorical. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. And then there's your numerical discrete, countable objects or countable things, and then your numerical continuous, things that are not really countable, but they could go on forever. And we'll move on to the last questions, and that'll be it for today. This one shouldn't take that long. All right, so interpret the following diagram and answer the following questions below. All right, so what are we looking at right here? Who can tell me what is the observational value? Anybody want to tell me? Oops. Anybody? What is the observational unit?
and activities.
You're in the semi-right track, but that would be something different.
Fernando.
Just Fernando. Remember, when we're talking about observational unit, we're only looking at one thing, one person, or something or someone, not what they're doing or what we're looking for. So this will just be Fernando. Now, what are the variables? What is the variable?
Weekend activities.
You are correct, but there is a better answer that you could give me. Weekend activities is a variable that we're looking at, but like in stats, there's always better questions. There's always better answers. What could you narrow that down to?
It's time.
I'm sorry?
Time spent.
Close, but it will actually be the activities he's using or he's doing, which will be playing sports, socializing, watching TV, reading, dancing, and working out. Those are the variables that we're looking for. That will be your best answer to give in a question or in an exam or a quiz. Okay? Make sure you know the different types of variables. Now, write a sentence comparing the following. Okay? You don't have to write them, you could just say it. So what we have for the first one is socializing and watching TV. And here's the example. Fernando enjoys socializing more than he does watching TV. He spends 3 more hours socializing than he does watching TV. I kind of repeated myself, but when you do yours, you could cancel some stuff out than other stuff. Okay? There's always a better answer. You could give me a good answer, but you can always give me a better answer. So who wants to do the second one, reading and dancing? Anybody?
Fernando spends 3 more hours dancing than he does reading.
Perfect. That's the best answer you could give. You gave me what he's doing, reading and dancing. You're comparing them. And you gave me the time interval between them. So that's all we really want within when comparing things. We want the two things that you're comparing, and you want what's the difference between them. In this case, 3 hours. All right. Who wants to do the next one? Playing sports and dancing.
Fernando spends the same amount of time dancing and playing sports.
That is a good answer. You are correct, because they do spend the same amount. But what I would like you to add in is how many hours do they spend dancing, which is just 4
hours.
Yeah, so you are correct. They do spend the same amount of hours doing the same thing, but also include what the hour limit is.
Okay.
You included that they're playing sports, you included that they're dancing, and you included that they're the same, but you did not include what the hour was. But like I stated, there's always better answers. But you're still good. All right, anybody wants to do the next one? Working out and playing sports?
Just
go for it. And one more thing you needed to include was, well, not you, but just in case, you also have to include your observational unit, which is Fernando. So for number 4, what would a good thing be? Anybody? All right. So I'll go ahead and say something. So what it looks like, we're comparing playing sports and we're comparing working out. So I would say something like Fernando plays sports more than he does working out by, let's see, 2 hours. That will be our time gap. So as you can see, I have his name, the observational unit, Fernando. I have the things we're comparing, playing sports and working out. And I have the time frame in which he has the difference between the time frame, which is 2 hours. Okay. So that's pretty much it for about all of these. It's just compare and contrast. Know how to compare each value with each one. Know how to give out a good answer, how to give a better answer, and how to give the best answer within all of them. Okay? If you were to just say he likes watching TV more than reading, that's just a meh answer because you're not saying who is he. You're not saying what's the time difference. All you're saying is watching TV is better than reading or something along those lines. Okay? So make sure the more information you have, the better, but also make it short and sweet. Don't make it redundant. Don't keep, like right here, don't keep saying Fernando enjoys more than watching TV and then socializing that he doesn't watch TV. Try not to be redundant. Okay, so that's pretty much about it. That's pretty much for this worksheet. There's nothing else much to do. But before we move on,
you still have your spinner?
I'm sorry?
You still have the spinner up for MVP points?
Yeah. So yeah, before we actually move on, or anybody leaves, I would like to get those MVP points awarded to those whoever got them today.
So what's her name? She got all them joints.
So
yeah, so
Amanda,
I kind of
Brooklyn was going crazy today.
I was kind of making notes of who was asking questions, who was taking an effort to make the right answers. Even if you made the wrong answer, you were really engaged. I made a note of that. So a lot of you are around 10 MVP spins, and we'll see how many points that gets. So when he's ready, I'll let you know how many spins you guys all get.
So give me the first person and let's spin.
All right, so I have Christian. He has 13
13 for Christian. Good job. All right, so let's see.
From lecture and from this last follow-up.
Nice. So I'll spin 13 times for you, Christian. Let's see how many points you get. So you got a 5, a 2, a 1, a 5, a 5, a 1, a 10,
damn,
a 2, right? A 1, a 3.
Be real slow on the last one. You know what I'm saying? Take your time.
Right? And a 2. So let's add them up and see how many you get. Let's see. 5, 10, 13, 23, 23, 28, 30, 31, 31, 35, 38, 41, 42, 44 points is what I counted,
44.
unless I'm wrong.
All right.
Good job.
Brooklyn has 12 spins.
Brooklyn has 12. All right. 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 10, 5, 12 spins, right?
12 spins, yeah.
All right, so I kind of went overboard, but it's these right here. All right, so let's see what we have. 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 17, 18, 18, 20, 30, 40. 40 points for Brooklyn.
40 for Brooklyn. All right, I have 9 spins for Michael.
9 spins for Michael. All right, 3, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, and 2. All right, so let's see how much you get. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 16, 18 points.
18. All right. For Ian, I have 7.
7. All right. We have 1, 3, 10. Ooh. 7. I mean 3. 1, 1, and 10. Ooh, double tens. Lucky. So 20, 26, 29.
29. All right. I have 9 spins for a tier.
A tier. All right. So 5, 3, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 5, and 5. So let's see how much of that. 5, 10, 15, 19. Nope. Wrong. 5, 10, 15, 20, 26, 27, 28. 28. I got 28.
All right. And then I have 14 for Destiny.
14 for Destiny. Ooh. Such a lot of points for short. Oh, 10. Starting off great. Right? 1. You said 14, right?
Yeah, 14 spins.
All right. 1. Oh, but what? Damn, the spinner don't like you right now, except for that first one. All right, so let's see. Hopefully it adds up to a lot. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 21, 24, 25, 28, 31, 32, 35. I got 35.
Hey, look,
35.
that's everybody.
I
And
believe
then
so.
I have 3 for Trayvon from the lecture.
3 for Travion. All right. So it seems that he left, but we'll still do his. And he got 6, 8.
All right, look, add everybody points up and give it to everybody equally. It's one.
No,
No, no, no, no,
that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But
How much we got?
good try. Good
It
try.
was
It was
the number of spins?
8,
Sorry.
8 for Travion.
8?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, then will be it for that's it, right?
Hey, so we gotta have module 2 done by tomorrow, or just
It's best to go ahead and look that. But actually, before you leave, let me go ahead and share my screen for a bit. Let me see. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so we'll just go to your course and make sure that you if you haven't done so already, make sure you take a look at module 1. Make sure you look at the Quizlet because you will have a quiz for it tomorrow. They will give you information about the vocabulary and things like that. So as you can see, module 1 vocabulary, that will be reviewed tomorrow. So make sure you take a look at it. Make sure you go over things on this first module, all right? And don't miss tomorrow's lecture, or I don't know what, I forgot what it's called. Yeah, the training thing, I forgot what it's called.
It's independent study.
Don't miss tomorrow's independent study.
So we want it to all be green like that for module 1.
I'm sorry?
We want it to be green like that with the little check or whatever.
Yeah, if you complete it all, this is actually my the tutor view, but let's see.
I feel you.
If you go to, let's see, student view, you should just be looking at something like that.
Oh, bet.
So it shouldn't have the check marks next to it?
It should. Let's see. Next, let's see what they pop up.
I know you said earlier that the module 1 wasn't gonna have it. The little next thing.
Yeah, I think some of them don't have them, but it doesn't look like they have the next button or the mark as done. So
Yeah.
I don't think you guys should worry about that. But what you should worry about is getting those Quizlets done or reviewing it.
Get them done. Okay.
Getting this, or you should have at least a check mark next to it. It looks like I have a check mark on some of my stuff. Okay. So just make sure you view this. It's not that long, maybe a couple 30 minutes. So
30, that's how I don't know.
I mean, you spent 2 hours here, so what's 30 minutes more?
Oh no, you said a couple 30s.
A couple 30 minutes, not okay, I see what you mean. 30 minutes probably.
You know, the context and what you said.
Yeah, the context, right? It's all about context. You got it right. Look at the context. All right, so just make sure you study those quiz tomorrow. All right.
Y'all be safe out here in these streets, man.
Bye, guys. Be safe and have a nice day.
All right, stay up.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Question?
Do you have a question?
Yeah, for the quiz tomorrow, that's gonna be taking whatever time we check in.
Yeah. So you have to be there at least for 1 hour. So don't go there in the last minute when we're about to close everything. That won't be counted.
No, yeah,
go an hour before.
So it's just based on whatever time we join. It's not on like.
It's based on whatever time you join, but like I stated, we only have a certain amount of time intervals. I don't know the time length, so it could run from like 9 to 10 or 9 to 12, or however long the thing is. So just join within one of those 2 hours. Don't join at the last minute.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Okay. Another one done?
That went well, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a bit rough at the very beginning, but.
All right, so I kind of timed Trayvon. It's Trayvon, right? Travion. All right, I kind of timed Travion. So when he came into the follow-up, he came in at 12:30 and left at 12:53.
Mm-hmm.
And then, did you see he had his iPad underneath his TV?
No,
Like it was staring up at the screen.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
you
I
saw
saw
the
that.
whole. I was like, what are you doing?
Just make sure you write an assist that he was distracted throughout the whole meeting. He was not there and he left.
Yeah.
So maybe write a little assist. And for a tier, yeah, that's fine with the tier. Let's see what other notes I have. Put Destiny was late, but very cooperative.
Yeah, I have her coming in at 12:10. But I also said she spoke with Yi. Yi knew about it. So he was the one that told us that she was gonna miss and come in later.
Yeah.
And then yeah,
That should be it.
I'm gonna go back over and update and polish the last two.
Yeah,
Was
that's
it
fine.
the red one and then this brown one right now?
And just write some overall comments on the thing.
Yeah.
Overall, it was pretty good. Well, towards the end for me, the first hour was a bit rough, but we went through it.
For this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, second hour, I felt like it was a bit more them talking to me, which was a lot better than the first hour.
Yeah. They finally, I think, felt comfortable.
I think it was, yeah. So just write that.
All right.
All right, then well, I'm gonna end the meeting already. All right.
Okay,
Thank you, Amanda, for everything.
All right.
Bye.
I'll see you later. Bye.
Mhm.